Most people think individuation means becoming your best self, or that it's about becoming independent, empowered, or fully developed. But what if I told you that Carl Jung's idea of individuation has little to do with self-improvement in the way we imagine it? That it's not about perfection, but about confrontation. Not about becoming more, but about becoming whole. Not more light, but more shadow. You see, individuation isn't the final glow-up of your personality. It's the painful process of dying to who you think you are. Jung didn't want you to be better. He wanted you to be more real. Stop identifying with the masks you wear, the roles you play, the names you've been called. The real journey of individuation begins where your ego starts to break down, where the version of yourself you've polished for society starts to crack, and something raw begins to emerge. That rawness, uncomfortable, alien, maybe even terrifying is the beginning of something authentic. You don't find yourself by adding new layers. You find yourself by stripping away the ones you never chose. The goal of individuation isn't becoming someone different. It's remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. And Jung warned us, this process isn't pretty. It's not glamorous. It's not viral. It's an inner war. Between what's conscious and what's buried. Between the persona and the shadow. Between the lie we live and the truth we fear. So let's walk through this, slowly, deeply, honestly. Because if you've ever felt the quiet ache that your life isn't quite your own, this is for you. If you've ever stared in the mirror and thought, I don't know who I am anymore, this is your path. If you've sensed a deeper, older part of yourself calling from the inside, that's the self. And individuation is how you answer. Let's start with what individuation is not. It's not success. It's not healing all your wounds. It's not achieving enlightenment. Individuation doesn't promise happiness. It demands wholeness. And wholeness includes pain, grief, and contradiction. To individuate is to allow all parts of you to exist, even the parts you were told to hide. Jung believed that we are born whole. But as we grow, we learn to disown certain parts of ourselves to be accepted. The angry part, the vulnerable part, the rebellious part. All of it gets pushed into the unconscious, into what Jung called the shadow. And the more we repress, the more we fragment. Eventually, we mistake the fragment, the mask, the ego for the whole. And that's the tragedy. Individuation is the reversal of that process. It's going back to gather what we lost. Not to become who we should be, but to integrate who we are. To hold our light and our darkness in the same breath. This is why Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. It's not a metaphor, it's a roadmap. So why is this so hard? Because we're not trained to face ourselves. We're trained to perform, to adapt, to succeed, to be liked. Most of us are trapped in the persona, the social mask we wear to function. And we believe that's all we are. But behind that mask lives something deeper, the true self. And the self is wild, paradoxical, divine. It doesn't care about fitting in. It cares about becoming whole. The first step of individuation is noticing that the life you're living doesn't match the life your soul longs for. You feel off, disconnected, anxious, and numb. Maybe you achieve everything you wanted and still feel empty. That's the call to go inward, to descend. This descent often looks like depression, confusion, and chaos. Jung called it the night sea journey. It's the time when everything familiar dissolves. You start to question everything. Your beliefs, your identity, your relationships, your purpose. It's not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. but it doesn't feel like it at first. Individuation isn't a straight line. It's a spiral. You revisit your pain from new angles. You meet old wounds in new forms. You discover forgotten parts of yourself, not just trauma, but brilliance too. Your inner child, your inner sage, your inner rebel, all of them are waiting to be reclaimed. This isn't therapy talk. This is an archetypal truth. You are a house with many rooms, but you've only been living in the foyer. Individuation invites you to explore the whole house, including the basement. Especially the basement. That's where the shadow lives. That's where your unlived life waits. And here's the paradox. Your shadow isn't evil. It's just unseen. Maybe it's your assertiveness. Maybe it's your creativity. Maybe it's your rage. Maybe it's your joy. The things you repress don't die, they just go underground. And until you face them, they will control you from the dark. That's why Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Individuation is a rebellion against unconscious fate. It's the act of becoming a conscious participant in your myth. You stop living by default and start living by design, not someone else's, but your own. And to do that, you need courage. Not the courage to fight the world, but to face yourself. To look into the mirror without turning away. That mirror might show you things you'd rather not see. Your jealousy, your fear, your need for approval, your lies. But it will also show you your soul, your gifts, your power, your calling. All the things you buried to survive. You see, Jung's idea wasn't just psychological, it was spiritual. He believed that individuation was the soul's journey back to itself. That beneath the ego, beneath the complexes, there is a sacred center, what he called the self, and it's waiting for you to remember. But the self doesn't shout. It whispers. It appears in dreams, symbols, and synchronicities. It speaks in gut feelings and strange longings. And most of us are too distracted to listen. That's why individuation requires solitude, reflection, silence. You have to clear the noise to hear the voice within, and once you hear it, your life starts to shift, not always in comfortable ways. Relationships may fall apart. Careers may feel empty. You might lose friends, you might lose status, but what you gain is truth, alignment, soul integrity. You stop pretending. You start becoming. And that's the sacred danger of individuation. It will cost you everything that's not real. But what it gives you in return is yourself. Jung warned us, individuation is not for the faint of heart. It demands that you stand at the edge of what you know and willingly step into what you don't. Not once, but over and over. You'll lose your footing, you'll doubt your mind, but this is not regression. This is the sacred undoing that precedes rebirth. In mythological terms, this is the hero's descent into the underworld. Like Orpheus descending to find Eurydice. Like Inanna stripped of her garments. Like Christ in the tomb. These stories aren't dead. They live inside you. You are the one walking through darkness, searching for something precious you've lost, your soul. But no one can walk it for you. Individuation is profoundly personal. There are no maps, only archetypes, symbols, dreams, intuitions. The world won't validate this path. It's invisible on the outside, but internally, it's seismic. Your values change, your instincts change. Your definitions of success and love and purpose, all of them start to shift. You no longer crave admiration. You crave authenticity. You no longer want to be seen. You want to be known. You no longer seek comfort. You seek truth, even when it burns. This is how you know you're individuating. You stop chasing the life that looks good and start creating the life that feels right. You'll begin to reconcile opposites within you: strength and softness, control and surrender, masculine and feminine, the mind and the body, logic and intuition. The deeper you go, the more you realize these were never enemies. They were fragments of the same whole, split by trauma, reunited by truth. You realize the parts of you that used to scare you now guide you. Your anxiety becomes a compass. Your anger becomes a boundary. Your grief becomes a portal. Even your flaws become teachers. You don't eliminate the dark, you integrate it. And suddenly, you're no longer controlled by it. That's the hidden meaning of Jung's work. Not to remove darkness, but to dialogue with it. Not to become good, but to become whole. And when you're whole, you're no longer fragmented by your fears. You move from reaction to intention. You don't suppress the chaos, you dance with it. And then, something incredible happens. The ego, instead of resisting the self, begins to serve it. Your identity becomes a tool, not a prison. You live not from should, but from soul. Your outer life begins to reflect your inner truth. It may not be glamorous. It may not make sense to others. But to you, it feels like home. Jung once wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And that privilege is earned, not through conformity, but through confrontation. Not through fixing yourself, but by facing yourself. You stop asking, "What do others expect of me?" And start asking, "What does my soul demand of me?" And that shift, that sacred rebellion, is where your real life begins. And here's the part most people don't understand. Individuation is never finished. It's not a destination you arrive at and claim victory. It's a living, breathing relationship with your unconscious. A lifetime of integration. A spiral that goes deeper every year. The self is not a mountain peak. It's a deepening presence. You may individuate through parenthood, through grief, through solitude, through creation, through love, through heartbreak, through illness. Life becomes the canvas of your psyche, and every experience becomes an invitation to wholeness. Even the things you think you regret. They become part of the pattern, the affairs, the failures, the betrayals, the breakdowns. They all belong. Jung would say, only the paradox comes anywhere near to comprehending the fullness of life. And individuation is the art of holding paradox. You are both human and divine, both wounded and wise, both shadow and light. And when you stop trying to be one or the other, when you embrace both, that's when you begin to truly live. So many people live half-lives. Half known, half felt, half true. They fear the unknown so much, they choose familiarity over freedom. But you're being called to more. No more achievements, not more validation, but more soul, more presence, more wholeness. Maybe that's why you're here. Not just watching this, but here on Earth, to remember, to reunite, to become who you already are. That's what individuation is. Not becoming something new, but becoming fully you. It's easy to chase knowledge. It's harder to chase meaning. Individuation is meaning. It's not always pretty, but it's always profound. It's the invisible journey that shapes everything visible. The silent revolution within that eventually transforms the world without. And here's the irony. The more you individuate, the more connected you feel. To others, to the universe, to existence itself. Because wholeness isn't isolation, it's participation. The more you know yourself, the more deeply you can love. The more you heal your inner split, the more peace you bring into the world. So if you're on this path, if you're walking through the darkness, questioning everything, feeling alone, you're not lost. You're being reassembled. Slowly, sacredly, the pieces are coming together. The self is remembering itself through you. Let that land for a moment. Now I want to hear from you. What part of you are you currently integrating? What truth have you been avoiding but feel ready to face? Share it in the comments. Your words might help someone else feel less alone on their journey. And if this message spoke to something deep in you, something you can't fully explain but can deeply feel, then this channel is for you. Like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe so we can keep exploring the inner world together. Because the real revolution isn't out there, it's in here. And the deeper you go, the freer you become.